Hello, thank you for joining us on Court TV News at 4. I am Frank Omalapeh, and here are some of the reports we're filing at this time. President Muhammadu Buhari is at present in a closed-door meeting with the nation's security chiefs. All the service chiefs, led by Chief of Defense Staff Air Marshal Alex Bade, are in attending the meeting at Defense House. The security situation in the Northeast is expected to top their agenda. Presidency sources also indicate the modality for relocating the command and control center of the war against insurgency to Maiduguri is also to be discussed. The security meeting is coming a day before President Buhari travels to Chad and Niger for talks on regional security. Meanwhile, Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari is set to embark on his first trip outside the country since his inauguration on May 29. He is visiting the President of Chad and Niger Republic on Wednesday to discuss security matters. The visit is not unexpected considering President Buhari's emphatic declaration to fight insurgency in his inaugural speech at the swearing-in ceremony held at Eagle Square in Abuja, the nation's capital city. President Buhari has expressed his readiness to tackle the enormous challenges facing the oil-rich nation, one of which is insecurity owing to major activities of the terrorist group Boko Haram. He referred to Boko Haram's insurgency as the most immediate challenge he wants to tackle. It is believed that his trip is to enable the Nigerian president to further discuss with the country's neighbors on how to curb the dreaded sect, having acknowledged the support of their governments and thanked them for their cooperation with Nigeria in the fight against the militants. And now President Muhammadu Buhari has requested the approval of the Senate to appoint 15 special advisors to assist in his functions as President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. The President, in a letter addressed to Senate President David Mark, said his request was in accordance with Section 151, subsection 1, 2, and 3 of the Nigerian Constitution. We'll bring you more details in our subsequent bulletins. Moving away from there now, President Muhammadu Buhari has been asked to address issues regarding the Niger Delta differently from his predecessors. A stakeholder in the oil and gas sector, Alfred Okoigu, said in a chat with newsmen on the sidelines of an inauguration gala night organized for Buhari. Okoigu, who is a prominent player in the oil and gas sector industry, urged Buhari to ensure that the people of Niger Delta get sound education, infrastructure, and massive development. He kicked against the idea of doling out money to the people of the area. He said the president should focus more on developing the region. He also called on the president to create the enabling environment for the nation's economy to thrive. And now the Civil Society Group Center for Democracy and Development, CCD, or CDD, has launched a parameter to monitor the performance of President Muhammadu Buhari against the backdrop of his campaign promises. The group is playing at a press briefing in Abuja that a two-tag Buhari meter will afford Nigerians an opportunity to take active part in governance. Basiaye reports that Buhari meter is a three-pronged approach to the public to keep the government on its toes.
Barely 48 hours after President Buhari's inauguration, Nigerians are anxious for immediate change. To this end, rights activists are of the view that citizens must make conscious efforts to push for accountability from this government from the very beginning. They maintain that democracy without development is unacceptable.
What we're trying to do here is to put ourselves in a situation and in a position where we can exercise the mandates of overseeing the actions of government. So much has been said about the powers of the office of the citizen. We all believe, and I believe actually, that it's the most powerful office in this country. And for that office to function effectively, we are providing the platform, we are providing the resources for us to go back and ask ourselves a fundamental question. Are our lives better after 100 days, after 1 year, after 2 years of this administration? Have we moved one step from the promises they made to us before the election? Has anything actually changed? So this is not a situation whereby we have to conjecture or try to imagine. Now, this platform will not only provide you with the promises, but also provide you with the resources to check if those promises are being fulfilled.
As Nigerians, what is our own say in the whole implementation process? Is it about the press conferences when they come to tick it off and tell us we have done this, we have done that, we have done what? How do we ensure that whatever they tell us, we are not even waiting for them to tell us, we ourselves are scoring this government, not when it is 2018, then we become very active in the whole process again.
They are also expectant of quick action in some vital areas within the president's first 100 days in office.
When people see that there is openness, there is transparency, and there is the need or the will to actually instill accountability in the whole governance process. And even beyond that, like this statement has clearly stated, that there are things the government can actually do to ensure that they achieve what they have set out to achieve. The public declaration of assets, for instance, doesn't cost anything amongst all the campaign promises. Moving the military command, the command to Maiduguri itself, is a step in the right direction, because you cannot command from Abuja when you are fighting a war in Maiduguri. So there are lots of steps, and there is even in the last 72 hours, we have seen a lot of promises being made, open-handed, open-heartedness from the international community.
The leadership of the new ruling party is already asking for understanding from Nigerians, citing years of extensive damage. But many Nigerians who accepted APC's change mantra would have the opportunity, through these activists, to gauge government's performance periodically using 3 interrelated approaches. These include periodic surveys, media monitoring, as well as on-the-ground assessment of government projects and programs. Batia Ye, Core TV News, Abuja.
Away from there now, at least goods and property worth millions of naira were lost in a fire incident at the Omalapeh area of Lagos State today. The inferno happened when a tanker conveying petrol fell off the Omalapeh Link Bridge. Our correspondent Abiola Luwalis was at the scene of the incident. His report is presented from our studios.
As Nigerians continue to look forward to sustainable solutions to the perennial fuel scarcity, road accidents involving petrol tanker drivers have continued to be another challenge in the quest towards ensuring the safety of road users. A tank containing 33 liters of petrol skidded off the road at the Omalapeh area of Lagos State, leading to a fire outbreak. The director of the Lagos State Fire Service, Fadikwe, says it took the prompt response of his men after a distress call from a resident around 1 a.m. to combat the spread of the inferno.
The fuel spilled into 4 different streets, and it has caused a lot of havoc. We engaged on active firefighting operation, and with the help of the public, we were able to quickly douse the fire.
Fadikwe says 44 shops, 17 vehicles and 6 tricycles were razed in the incident.
No life lost, but there were some people that sustained injuries and were treated by Lasambos.
Residents who lost properties worth millions of naira to the inferno lament the impact of the unfortunate incident.
Everything, all my goods, everything burned. I went to market yesterday. All my money, I borrow money, I go market, buy everything, put on yesterday, Monday. In the night, everything burned. I don't sell anything yesterday. I don't bring even pin, I don't bring out. Everything burned.
After seeing the level of damage caused by the fire, Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode condemned the lawlessness of some tanker drivers on the road, while assuring those affected of adequate relief response by the government.
While we're trying to address all that, we will ensure that all those who have lost properties and even lost their shops will quickly find a way to let them get back to their normal business life. Immediately I will receive the report on this fire incident in the next 48 hours, and will ensure that we do something positively so that life can come back to normal here.
According to experts, moving inflammable material through the rail and pipeline are the only effective ways to prevent a reoccurrence of fuel tanker-related inferno across the country. This, they say, will curb avoidable loss of lives and property.
Well, it's so sad in there to a fire incident. Well, you're still watching Court TV News at 4. We'll take a break now, but back with more stories. Join us again.
Women share the most amazing thoughts on national issues, and they do it passionately.
For most men that are educated, that are exposed, will see nothing to it.
The population and the level of poverty made me cry. No infrastructural development whatsoever. And you tell me Lagos is working?
That was an accident, and it was a one-off thing. Other than that, there has never been any situation in Nigeria where a Nigerian attacked anybody just because of where they came from.
Sharing the adorable word of women in politics every week, only on Core TV News.
This is Court TV News at 4 live from our Lagos studios. All our top stories can be found on our social media platforms like our Facebook page is facebook.com/Court TV News. You can also follow at Court TV News NG. For live streaming, log on to youtube.com/Court TV. Leave a space, the news. The newly elected president of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, has promised to improve or eradicating war and poverty in the continent. Adesina made his commitment while appreciating the governor of Ogun State on a courtesy visit. Our correspondent Olajumoke Olatuji tells us more.
The president of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, has been speaking on his mission for the development of the continent, saying that policies and programs that will pull the continent out of poverty, war, would be vigorously pursued during his term as the president. He made this known in Abeokuta, the Ogun State's capital, while on a thank-you visit to the Ogun State governor, Bikuni Amosu, in his office. The new AFDP president called for efforts towards reviving the rural economies through agriculture and its value-added chains, just as a call for the rural integration in Africa to ensure peace and stability of the continent.
We will work very hard to develop programs that will end poverty on this continent and that will lift people out of it and create opportunities for shared prosperity all across our continent. Obviously, I think critical issues of infrastructure will be important. Energy for all is going to be important. Electricity is going to be important. Very critical to build private sector, to create wealth all across our continent.
For his own part, the governor of Ogun State has expressed confidence in the ability of Adesina to make a big difference in his new assignments.
Made us proud. We are happy that this is coming at this time. Indeed, the way the structure of the thing is what the same day, really, I think 28, that's to 29, so your tenure will be the reference point, really. That's our approach.
The governor further appreciated the former Minister of Agriculture for standing out among his peers during the last administration, which he says is a good sign that all hope is not lost. Olajumoke Olatuji, Core TV News, Abeokuta.
The Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has congratulated Femi Adesina and Garba Shehu on their appointment as the presidential spokesman. Governor Ambode would describe the appointments of Adesina and Shehu by President Muhammadu Buhari as well deserved said. Adesina, as the president of the Guild of Editors, has upped the ante in terms of performance, integrity, and credibility rating of the Nigerian media. While lauding the effort of Shehu Garba, who headed the media and publicity team of the All Progressive Congress presidential campaign, the governor expressed the belief that the two men will bring their wealth of experience to bear on the management of the media image of the president and this critical junction of the nation's history. Now, Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong has appointed a former minority leader of the State House of Assembly, Rufus Bature, as the secretary to the state government. Governor Lalong, on his first day in office, also announced the appointment of John Daffan as chief of staff for the government house, with Yusuf Hawaja as his deputy, while Silas Venn is deputy chief of staff for the deputy governor's office. This was contained in a statement released by the permanent secretary on policy and general services, Izam Azi. Other appointments made by the governor include Emmanuel Nanle, who is the director of press affairs, just as Professor John Wade, the pioneer vice chancellor of the Plateau State University, Bokos, was named the new director general of research. Cyril Tenslin was picked as Plateau State Accountant General, while Cletus Kangom, a former director of administration at the Jos University Teaching Hospital, emerged as the principal private secretary to the governor. Meanwhile, Alang did not resume at the newly built 15 billion naira government house at Little Railfield, but at the old governor's lodge at Railfield, also in Jos. And our lecturers at the Kaduna Polytechnic have begun a 3-day warning strike. They say the action, which began on Tuesday, is a prelude to an indefinite action in the school authorities failed to meet their demands. Chairman of the school's chapter of the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnic, Musa Ibrahim, disclosed it at a news conference in Abuja. And as the 7th Assembly winds up in a matter of days, the lobby of some senators-elect in becoming the Senate president is reaching its height as the supporters of Bukola Saraki resort to prayers. This, according to them, is expedient in bringing the dream to reality with the full backing of the state APC. Our correspondent Rashid tells us more.
Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, is known for its depth in Islamic religion. But for the sake of Saraki's Senate presidency, interdenominational prayers are held to actualize this aim. The participants say, aside prayers, Saraki is the best candidate for the job.
He is one of the major midwives for the APC coming to life. And his leadership ability in reaching out across the break is phenomenal. Now, what do we gain? What do we benefit if the slot of Senate presidency comes to Kwara State? The federal presence will be more felt in our state. Employment benefits will be wonderful.
The party leadership in Kwara says it will be disservice if the Senate presidency is zoned away from the North Central.
And we, on our part, we are still appealing to the people, that is the people at the hierarchy of our APC, our leaders, that these things should not be taken away from us if they want peace and justice and fair play. And actually, we are still appealing to them. Everybody is appealing to them. And we believe that if the thing still remains in North Central, it will stabilize the quality of Nigeria.
The prayer warriors also took their spiritual quests to the Kwara State Government House as they were attended to by Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed. While Bukola Saraki has declared his ambition openly alongside other contenders, the day of reckoning surely is near. Rashid, Port TV News, Ilorin.
Former Kebbi State Governor and incoming Senator Adamu Alero has dissociated themselves from a purported blanket support secured by Senator Bukola Saraki from the Northwest Zone. The senator-elect said in a statement that the story published in one of the national dailies was far from the truth. He maintained that the Northwest, of which he is a member, has not given such a blanket support to Senator Saraki. Alera, who would be representing Kebbi Central in the 8th Senate, argued that Senator Lawan Group remains in strong contention and will not descend to the level of disparaging anyone through what he described as sponsored stories. And our National Assembly members elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party have resolved to set up an effective oversight mechanism to benchmark the activities of the ABC-led government. This is one of the decisions taken at a one-day retreat held in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. In a communique issued at the end of the meeting, the lawmakers-elect stressed the need for a robust media management strategy as well as a partnership with the mainstream media. They also agreed to shun defections and remain in the PDP to revive its political fortunes as well as speak with one voice at the National Assembly. In addition, the leadership of the party pledged to work with the PDP members in the National Assembly and give them the maximum support to excel as a vibrant opposition in the parliament. With the tension still pervasive in Ekiti State over the rumored coming back of the 19 APC lawmakers to come into the state and the ongoing blockades erected by loyalists of the governor Ayodele Fauci statewide and the disagreement over the payment of the salaries and allowances of the legislators, the governor Ayodele Fauci has been speaking to the press over the matter. The governor disclosed his surprise at the action of the lawmakers and added that he has paid their salaries as part of the peace accord signed in Akure, the Ondo State capital. He advised the lawmakers to stop using the name of the party's national leader, Bola Tinubu, and President Muhammadu Buhari to foment trouble in the state.
To my greatest surprise, they signed for the checks. The checks were signed for by them, 19 of them. You see it very well. The checks were signed for by them. And at the end of the day, in the ledger of the Ministry of Finance, it was signed for. And you see the reason why they when we finished the meeting, they didn't want us to discuss this issue of money in the public because they don't want their leaders to know. That was their position. I don't want them to be dropping the name of the president and the name of Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, claiming that they're the people funding and backing them against illegality. So I want to raise this for the public to know.
You're still watching Court TV News at 4. We'll take a break now. Be back with sports and other stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
And in sports now, the Catalans last won the competition in 2011 and the Brazil striker moved to Camp Nou 2 years later, winning his first trophies, this time in the Liga title and the Copa del Rey. His legendary compatriot Ronaldo never won the competition despite representing Barca, Real Madrid, AC Milan and Inter during his illustrious career, and Neymar is determined to outdo the 38-year-old. The Brazilian believes that Ronaldo's failure to win the competition shows how tough it is as he prepares for his first European Cup final. Barca clash with Juventus in Berlin on Saturday at about 20:45 Central African time. Just days after scoring in Wolfsburg's DFB Pokal final victory over Borussia Dortmund on Saturday, the 27-year-old midfielder was found to have suffered meniscus damage and will undergo surgery. He has started 7 of Coach Dunga's 8 matches in charge, have been rested in March Chevrolet Brazil Global Tour victory over Chile only because the game arrived less 72 hours. A ball's ideal recovery period after the winning over France in Paris. A replacement for Luis Gustavo is yet to be confirmed, with Fred Shakhtar Donetsk, Felipe Anderson, Lazio, Rafinha Alcantara, Barcelona, and Kaká of Orlando City. The options open to Dunga after they were named on Brazil's standby list. And now FIFA says it paid $10 million, equivalent of £6.5 million, to a Caribbean football body led by Jack Warner, who is charged by the US with corruption at South Africa's request. South Africa's instruction was that the money was for a diaspora legacy program which should be implemented directly by Warner, FIFA said. US says the $10 million was a bribe in exchange for Mr. Warner supporting South Africa's 2010 World Cup bid. Warner and South African officials have denied any wrongdoing. And now Ghana survive a late fight back to beat Argentina 3-2 in Group B at the Under-20 World Cup in New Zealand. Benjamin Tete, Clifford Abogia, and a penalty from Yebo gave Ghana a 3-0 lead by 70th minute. Giovanni Simeon and Emiliano Bonedado then scored in the last 10 minutes for Argentina. The result means Ghana have 4 points along with Austria, who earlier in the day beat Panama 2-1. The Black Satellite top Group B on goal scored. Yeboah's penalty was his second goal of the tournament after he scored to salvage a draw for Ghana against Austria on the opening day of the tournament. Ghana's final Group B game is against Panama on Friday, while Austria face Argentina at the same time. And outside Nigeria now, a graphic mobile phone video appears to show militant from Islamic ISIS torturing a 14-year-old Syrian boy. The footage filmed by a defectors from the jihadist group shows the boy being beaten while he hangs by his wrist. The UN has accused IS and other armed groups in Syria and Iraq of torturing and killing children. Children have also been recruited, trained, and used on the battlefield. Another teenager told the story of how he fought and killed for the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Nusra Front at the age of just 15, and that when he switched to IS, he found 13-year-olds being indoctrinated. A tourist believed to be from the U.S. has been killed in a lion attack at a game park in South Africa. The lioness jumped through the open window of the couple's car and started mauling the woman. Paramedics were called to the scene, but she died from her injuries, while the man is still receiving treatment. The popular lion park is 30 kilometers, equivalent of 90 miles north of Johannesburg. The park's rules forbid visitors from driving through the lion enclosure with their windows down. Park rangers chased the lioness away after the attack, and it is not clear whether the animal will now have to be pulled down. Local media are reporting that the woman's death marks the third incident in the past 4 months at the park. Now, the legal authority for U.S. spy agencies to block collect Americans' phone data has expired after the Senate failed to reach a deal. Republican presidential hopeful Rand Paul blocked a Patriotic Act extension, and it lapsed at midnight. However, the Senate did vote to advance the White House back Freedom Act, so a new form of data collection is likely to be approved in the coming days. The Freedom Act imposes more controls after revelation by Edward Snowden, the former National Security Agency contractor, first exposed the extent of the data collection in 2013. The White House described the expiry of the deadline as an irresponsible lapse by the Senate. The failure to reach a deal means that security services have temporarily lost the right to block collection Americans' phone records, to monitor lone wolf, terror suspect, and to carry out roving wiretaps of suspect. The government can still continue to collect information related to any foreign intelligence investigations. Analysts also said there would be workarounds to allow continued data collection in some cases. Authorities could try to argue that older legal provisions, so-called grandfather clauses, still apply. Well, thank you for watching Court TV News at 4. Many thanks again for watching. I am Frank Omalapeh. I'll see you again.